Welcome to Kung Fu Epic number 2. So, first and foremost, my name is James Williams Jr. You guys know who I am by now. If you're one of the 111 people that are here. So, and if you're on Instagram, you should probably come on over to YouTube and check out some of my martial arts shit. So I'm about to give you some little minor differences between karate and kung fu and other martial arts. First, no kick is nowadays classified as one or the other. A side kick is still going to be a side kick, even if that was taekwondo and kung fu. Alright? I understand that. In traditional kung fu, let me get closer. You can close on impact. In karate, your hands are already closed. Boom. Now your blocks might be open if you're learning the crane. Notice the beak is closed versus kung fu and the snake where the beak is open. Now for the snake, I do this versus the Hollywood version of the rattle and the snake. Yeah, hopefully you're in frame. Okay, let me get out this way. So snake, beak open, rattle. I don't do that one. My snake is this. Okay? Boom, boom, so I can twist the snake around versus, yeah, fuck that shit. Now you gotta do mantis. Okay? Then you're going to do tiger and dragon. Now what you understand is these are the animal styles. The animal styles, the kicks and punches are kind of all the same. Except for with tiger and dragon, you're doing more claw marks versus kicks and punches. Because a mantis strike can become a punch. A snake strike can become a punch. A crane strike can become a punch. Where the tiger is always clawing. The mantis can claw too, but the tiger and the dragon generally do most of the clawing. Now remember, the dragon starts at your chi, tiger starts up here loose and free. Now, here's the thing. I'm about to point out some shit that's going to piss off martial artists, but that's what I do because I drop the truth. Kung Fu is a little bit more direct and simple, where karate is more about power and strength. Alright? And you can be direct and simple and still have power and strength. Things that people leave out when they're teaching. Alright, so you're taught in karate to block and then counter. Where you're taught in Kung Fu is block to the outside and then counter. Now there's a reason for that. I'm a whole lot more effective on the outside of you because you have to reach around you. Where if we're doing karate, if I'm blocking and striking and you're blocking and striking, is basically we're mirroring each other. So if I throw a left and you block it with the right, and then I throw a right and you block it with the left, whether your block is high or low, it's going to be karate, so it's going to be high and then low. Where if it was Kung Fu, it'd be boom, boom, versus boom, boom, boom. Alright? It just depends on who's throwing the punches. If they're throwing jabs and you're just doing Kung Fu, once you get that first block off and you bat them to where you can get to the outside of their body, you have a better chance of taking over control of the fight. Where in karate, you're both doing karate, when I throw this block, I'm throwing this counter. You're going to throw this counter, and then you're going to counter again because you've already been blocked, which leaves your hand free to adapt for another. So I block, I counter. And you have already been blocked, so you're going to block with your free hand and come back around with the unfree hand. So you throw a punch, I block, I counter, you throw a block, and then you counter, which puts me back in the position of where I need to throw a block. So if I throw this block, I can counter, which is karate, because I had to take the step back and then throw the punch. Where Kung Fu would have been boom and boom, and I'll be moving forward. Alright? Now, this is Kung Fu or Wing Chun or Wushu. It depends on who's teaching you what, but they're relatively all the freaking same. A block will be a block, a kick will be a kick, and they will have different names for each and every single one of them depending on who your teacher is or what style you are being learned how to do. Alright, now in traditional jiu-jitsu, before the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing happened, you had grapples and locks. And you also had punches too, depending on who taught you what style of jiu-jitsu there was before it went to the way of the wayside, and now all there is Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And yes, I'm shitting on it, but I'm okay with that. Now, same thing with Aikido, where if you throw this punch and I'm blocking and rolling you and stepping under and throwing a judo throw. Same thing with judo. Now, here's that thing. I'm going to say it because judo was invented for little itty bitty people like me to fight gigantic, massive motherfuckers. Now, judo works on the principle of momentum and me taking your strength and using it against you. In other words, if you're pushing me, I pull you towards me. I twist and pop my hips at roughly the same time as I throw you over. Now let's say that's not how you grab me. You're not pushing at me, you're pulling. If you're pulling me, I push you. As I push you, I'm going to plant my knee into your sternum, because if I trip you or if you just stumble over your own feet, I need to be able to take the advantage. Because I'm recording, Dick. Anyway, go away. I'm not your stupid child. Anyway, if I'm pushing you because you were pulling me for judo and you happen to trip over your own feet, sorry for the rudeness, and you trip over your own feet, I want to put my knee in a position that when you go down, I'm on top. So I'm going to put my knee right here. I'm going to try to put my entire knee up here and put my base of my fucking shin in your sternum. If that doesn't happen, I want my knee in your sternum so that when we fall down, while you're pulling me and I'm pushing you, this shit's going to be right here, which is going to make it so that you can't breathe when you hit the ground, which is going to immobilize you long enough for me to follow through with putting my elbow on your neck, which goes back to, if you can't breathe, you can't hurt me. Now, let's say you roll through instead of staying on the ground. So my knee is still here and you're rolling through. You're going to have to bump me with your free leg. But since my knee is probably long enough from here to here, I'm going to drop that bitch in so it also hits you in the crotch, which is going to limit your mobility just because of the fact that if you haven't been hitting the nuts or the private parts, you're going to know how that shit feels when I drop that full weight on you when you're pulling me and I'm pushing you to make judo more effective. Alright. Now, as you know, all martial arts are related through kicks and punches. Alright? So, for karate, spinning back fist. For taekwondo, spinning back fist, you pop it. So you stop at the elbow, and then you pop it out. Okay? And then for kung fu, it's just like, if I throw a block, there's my back elbow or my back fist. But if I have to do a spin, boom, I pushed you to the far, I'm going to hit you with this one versus this one, because I'm doing kung fu, not karate. So if I'm doing kung fu, when I get you out here, my back fist is right there. It's not going to be a spin to that shit. Now, if you want to be fancy and you want to do a double block, boom, boom. Now you have a fighting chance because you use both blocks, and this is still blocked as you're spinning so that you can catch your target. Because if you just like boom, boom, it's a lot easier. But if you boom and then try to do this without both blocks, you're going to run into some trouble. And also, if your opponent ducks, you got to know how to recover. So let's say your opponent ducks. So I blocked and I ducked. Now my opponent, he is ducked. So I'm going to have to come down with an elbow to protect myself from whatever that person throws at me. Now again, as I said, you know, when you're doing training and all of this, a lot of teachers leave off shit because they just don't know it. I'm not saying that they're stupid. I'm just saying that they don't know it. Earlier I did a video today about if you're in the fetal position in the BJJ situation and they're trying to get your arm, because you know they're going to transition. They're laying across your chest and they're going to transition from you being like this and this going between two of their legs, and they're going to hyperextend your elbow on their thigh. In that position, you have suggestions and you have the ability to defend. Whether you choose to defend or not, couldn't tell if that was a wave or not. Whether you choose to defend or not, that's kind of on you. But as what I learned in the Army with that whole positioning thing, nobody defends themselves when they're locked like this. They're fighting that arm. They're literally fighting that arm. Sorry. I thought that trash bag moved. Anyway, won't know if it does it again. Anyway, when you're in this position and you're on your back and the guy is on side mount, which means his legs are right here. He's pulling on your arm. His body's right here. You're fighting him like this. So why aren't you, since you're on your back already, why aren't you throwing knees into the guy? His body's not super skinny, you know. The majority of his body's across your chest. So there's no excuse for you not to high knee the shit out of this dude. Boom! Boom! While he's tugging with your arm, you can be kneeing the shit out of him. I don't know why they don't teach you that, but I will teach you that. So, you know, you have ways out of situations. It's just on you and who the hell's teaching you what. Alright? Now, if you don't want to believe it, then you can go out there and test it yourself. That's fine by me. And if you prove me wrong, that's fine by me too. But I'm pretty sure that this is how this works. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. He's stronger than me. He's stronger than me. You gotta get my arm. You gotta get my arm. And in that whole 5 minutes of you fighting him to keep him from getting your arm, you have options. You know, you can roll with him. So now you're on top mount or side guard, full control, whatever. You can do that. Or, as soon as he's grabbing you, instead of you allowing that shit to happen, when he's right on top of your side mount, you know, you can push your arm against his body and clamp him with your right leg and left leg and just start kneeing the shit out of him because he's fighting to get your arm. He's not thinking about his whole right section of his body or if he's going for the left arm. He's not thinking of his left section of his body. All that shit's open. And mind you, in case you haven't heard me the first time, you're in the fucking fetal position. Which means you have options. Remember that you always have options in a fight. It's probably like rule number 3. You should always remember that you have options in a fight. Now, again, karate, power, kung fu, directness. Now, once you can combine them both, like me, you will find ways to make that shit work together. So when a fucking fight calls for karate and kung fu's the only option I have, so he's throwing a left jab at my right side of my face, which would be over here. But he's throwing that right jab, and I'm going to do karate. I'm going to block, and I'm going to strike. Now, fuck that for me, because if he's throwing a left jab, and I can get over here, I'm going to make him dance. But if I can get over here, and he's throwing that left jab, I got his wrist and his elbow. Snap. Now I have options. His arm is broken. Slide down and hit him in the throat. Slide under and hit him in the ribs, because his arm's like this now, but it's dangling over. So, because I put my outside hand here and my father's hand here, and I pushed and pulled at the same time, causing friction, which is not kung fu, it's more actually like kempo. So I broke it, and I'm on this side of him. So I'm on his left side. My options are, because his arm is broke now, slide down, strike to the throat. Slide under, strike to the ribs, the gut area. I have him where I want him. Or, his arm is broken, pull, knee to the gut, kung fu, knee to the gut, karate. You have the options of making this shit happen. So when you're doing BJJ and you're on the ground, and you're fighting to kick your arm so that it doesn't get caught in the arm bar, you are in the fetal position. You have the option of taking 1 or 2 of these knees to his guts. You know, all of this shit right here. So wide the fuck open, because he's focused on pulling your arms apart. He's laying on you. He's sitting now. He's sitting now. He was laying on you at first. He got your arm. He's got you by the wrist. You got your hands by hand. Your hands aren't clasped like this. They're generally clasped like this. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Your hands are generally clasped like this. Some people do it this way, but most of the time in the heat of battle, you're more like this, because you think that this hook grip is a better grip. Or you think that this grip is going to probably break your fingers. Highly possible that this is going to happen. But while he's like this, and you're crawling up in the fetal position, he's on this part of your body. He's on the side top mount. You know, he's not on full guard, but he's on side mount. So he has you. Now, you're in the fetal position. Your knees are fair game to this motherfucker. When he's fucking with your arm, he's not going to be thinking about protecting his sides. And that's your opening. A lot of people don't think about stuff like that when they're doing these things. You know, I'm side mount, I'm geared, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No. As soon as you know that he's got you, you have to change the game. You have to change the narrative to where you can start kneeing him in the freaking body. You know, because nobody's impervious to pain. Nobody. Even if you study the Ironman technique, everybody has a limit of tolerance of pain. For me, with the Ironman technique, I know that I have 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes. Now, when I was younger and I was addicted to the pain, then I could probably last a good 10. Now that I'm old, I'm not taking that chance, and my body doesn't heal as fast as it did when I was in 20s and 30s. So now that I'm almost 50, I want to make sure that I do the shit right. So I'm going to make damn sure that if you're locked up like this and you're fighting my arm and your thigh is by my head because you're about to transition from here to where this leg goes over my neck and this leg goes over my chest. So many things I could have done to prevent that. No, and if I can't prevent it, I can roll with it so that I'm in top mount, making it so that you are now in the fetal position. And while I'm getting into that position, I'm going to drive these knees into your fucking head. I'm sorry. I know it's against the rules. I'm going to drive these knees into your fucking head because I'm not going to let you break my fucking arm. And I'm not really trying to let you tap me the fuck out. Now, like I said, I suck at BJJ. So it's almost guaranteed that if we roll, I'm going to lose. But if we're fighting, I'm not going to lose because I'll sacrifice a fucking arm for the victory. I'm sorry. I'll Forrest Griffin the fuck out of a fucking arm. Fuck it. I still got 2 more. Now I got 2 legs and 1 more arm. Are you trying to make me tap? I'm trying to knock your ass into hell. And the thing with martial arts in general, you know, you will learn as you go. You will learn as you study what works for you and what does not. You know, you will learn as you go. Alright? Like for Kung Fu, if I'm doing Wing Chun, boom. So you see I got the side block, and this block is in case I miss. And so block, front kick, that's the front low kick, block. Mid-range, block, boom, I changed the kick to a higher side kick. So, boom, low, boom, mid-range, boom, high. I don't have to change the kick. But you will figure it out when you start fighting what will fucking work for you and what will not. And again, as I said in the other video, and as I said in the other IGTV, fancy smancy does not win fights. It wins tournaments, you know. It wins sports karate because it's some shit that people have never seen before, and you might get like extra points for that tornado kick. But in the end, they don't tell you, like, if you take that shit outside, it's not going to work out like you're talking about it. Because if you do a reverse tornado kick and you miss, Splitsville for you. Now, a lot of people are probably pissed off with the other video, and I'm probably going to piss off some more people with this video, and that's fine. You have the right to be mad. But understand that I'm 47. I started martial arts when I was 7. So I got 40 years behind me on this. I'm not a professional fighter. Unless you count street fights, I'm not a professional fighter. But I will tell you what works in the street doesn't always work in the dojo. Why do you think I teach you guys the pole technique? Because it's for people who aren't really good at physical fighting. If I teach you something on this channel, it's because I've used it and I know that this shit works. I used the pole technique on a couple of friends once. And David, I'm sorry, I'm calling you out. So David was a lot stronger than me, physically. We were in like the 8th grade or the 7th grade at West Haven. And I knew that if we got into a fucking physical fight, as long as I used Kung Fu, I could beat him. If we were just going straight hands, he might have whooped my ass. Except for the fact that I like fighting, so he might not have whooped my ass. But for the sake of argument, he was stronger than me by far. He was bigger, he was stronger. But he was not a martial artist. He didn't know anything about martial arts, which made the difference maker in my favor. If you're a martial artist and you're fighting someone who doesn't know martial arts, you're probably going to whoop their ass. But if they're really good fighters, you might not whoop their ass. There's 2 sides to that coin. Always remember there's 2 sides to that coin. So David and I were fighting. It was really just sparring and playing around, but it wasn't like a real physical fight. So there was a downhill advantage. Now I know if you've seen Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, or Clone Wars, or whichever one where he says, I have the high ground. Sometimes the high ground ain't always the best ground, which David had found out. As I kept telling him, look, I got the downhill advantage. He's like, how do you have downhill advantage? And I was like, it's really simple. Gravity is not my friend, but it damn sure ain't going to be yours if you try anything stupid. David didn't listen. So first, I'm already short. David had me by a good 3 or 4 inches, like in the 7th or the 8th grade. And so David decides to throw a kick. David's other foot was clear, and I had the pole in front of me. He didn't hit the pole, but he did miss, and he fell down the hill. I won. Wasn't even really much I had to do, but just get the fuck out the way. So again, this pole technique that I teach, outside when I showed you guys the technique, it can be used for like anything. Alright, this obstacle between me and my opponent keeps my opponent from getting to me. So if this was a pole and he comes on this side, I go here. Boom! I have delivered a strike. He goes here. Boom! I have delivered a strike. This pole, this is an imaginary pole, he has to come around it. He can't come through it. He's not Colossus. He's not Wolverine. He's not the Hulk. He's not Thor. He's a human being just like me. He has to dance around this bitch. The more I dance around it, the more he dances around it. And in case you guys haven't heard this before, or in case I haven't said this before, which I'm pretty sure I have, the second that you lose your head, you've lost the fight. If I can piss you off enough while we're fighting and dancing around this pole, you're going to be so damn enraged that you're not going to be thinking about beating my ass. You're just going to be thinking about trying to hurt me the best way you can, which is going to work more for me than you. Because a person who loses control of themselves have lost control of the fight. Once you lose control of the fight, you're done. Understand that. I'm going to make you fight my fight every fight that we have. Every fight. I'm not going to bend to your level. I'm not going to go out of my way to fight your fight. I'm going to make you go out of your way to fight my fight. This is how you win fights. If I try to outmuscle you when you're stronger than me, I've pretty much shot myself in the foot. If I try to outmatch you speed for speed, and you're faster than me, I've pretty much shot myself in the foot. So, if I use this thing up here called the brain, and I'm not a good fighter, but there is a pole or a tree between you and me, and if I can just piss you off enough that your enragement causes you to get fucking mad enough that you hit this pole trying to aim at my face, I win. You just broke a hand. You try it again. You just broke your other hand. You're 2 weapons down now, by the way. So I get you up, and you're a martial artist like me. So now you're going to try to use your feet. I got you all damn day. Did the fucking right. You throw a kick and I move and you hit the pole. Now, if I'm on the outside of you, I pinch your leg to the pole. If I'm going to be a dick, when you're over here and you're pinned against the pole, I'm going to slam your leg into the pole and try to break your fucking kneecaps. You're 3 weapons down. You can barely stand. You may still be able to fight, but it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to pull off another kick with your other leg fucking broken. But let's say for the sake of arguments that you do. Same concept. I move. You hit the pole. I break your other leg. Now you have no weapons and you have no defense. You can't stand. You can't make a fist. You can't throw your foot in the air if both your fucking legs are broken at the knee. Now you're like a dead cockroach kicking around, hollering and screaming, looking like some kind of crazy-ass nutcase. The smarter the fighter, the better the victory. Always remember that a brain will always be more deadlier than a fist. Alright? This thing right here will always be the ultimate weapon, whether you only know karate or kung fu. But what you need to know, the most important thing before I end this live and before I end this YouTube, is that under all circumstances, your brain is your key to your victory. Your brain. So guy comes, boom, boom, guy comes, boom, boom, boom. Know your fight. Fight your fight. Don't fight your opponent's fight. I can't go one-on-one with the Great One and try to outmuscle him. Rock's going to break both my arms. If we go like this and Rock's going to make me go mercy, yeah, I'm going to be tapping and squealing like a little girl. Now, if we're fighting in the pole technique, because I know that the Rock is so much stronger than me, I got to use my brains against this guy. And that wouldn't be just for the Rock. That would be like for Vin and any other big motherfucker that I have to deal with, because they're bigger than me. So let's see what happens when people are bigger than you. Let's weigh the pros and cons of that. Naturally, if they're bigger than you, they generally should be stronger than you. Doesn't mean they're smarter than you. It just means now you have to work harder to beat them. Understand that. When I tell you size doesn't matter, it doesn't. Your skill and your experience is all that you will ever need in a fight. I'm sorry to anybody who I just pissed off. If you haven't been in more than just like karate tournament fighting, and you haven't been in a fight in the street, then that's for you. And that shit will work in the tournament style fighting every day, all day, because there's rules. There's rules. I can't tap you more than, listen to it. If I hit you like, then I probably broke the rules. If I toe tap you and you go down, and it was supposed to be a soft hit, but my pad didn't connect with your face, it was actually my fucking foot, there's going to be a violation. Okay? I didn't mean to do it. It just happened. Adrenaline got to pumping. We got all jazzed up, and we both did this jumping front round kick taekwondo style. Boom! Now, you know those wrestling covers and kung fu covers and stuff? They are to protect you while you're in a tournament fight. They're protecting. They're pads. They're there to protect you. That's also why you have fucking headgear. They're there for a purpose. But in the event that you might be too strong with that jumping, turning round kick, you might catch somebody the wrong way. And when you do that, you may knock their ass for a loop. Which also means when you're jumping and you're blocking and you're, boom, shit happens. Now, outside in the streets, you're not wearing your pads every day. You're not wearing your headgear. You're not wearing your mouthpiece. You're not wearing shit that is convenient to protect you. So you need to know how to fight in the street as well as in the dojo. And if they're not teaching you that everything we're learning in the dojo does not work outside of the dojo, you are getting robbed. And I'm sorry. Now, if they're teaching you shit like, alright, let's say you're doing weapons training. Well, I don't know too many people in America that is legally allowed to walk around with a katana. But if you are, you. But I'm also pretty sure that no one's going to jump out of the bushes like the Putty Patrol and have you have pause to whip out your katana and start using it. Alright? Yeah, I got these nunchucks over here. I don't walk down the street carrying these bitches like this all day. I don't expect the Putty Patrol or somebody else to jump out and I have to bust these things out and like, whoa! 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 And if that happens, you're going to die anyway. Because you just lost your advantage. I have these kamas. I outside train with them, but nobody's going to come outside after me while I'm training and decide, hey, you killed my family. Prepare to die. I see you have kamas. Let's do this. No one's going to fucking do that. No one. And since these are practice kamas, they can become tonfas really fucking fast. I'm actually better with tonfas than I am with kamas, as you guys can see. So no one's going to catch me with these tonfas or kamas and decide, hey, I'm just going to decide, let's go fuck up James because he has these practice weapons in his hand. Let's see if he's really as good as he says he is. Does it really matter? Or did you miss the part that I have these weapons in my hand? Because in case you missed the first part of this video where I said even a practice weapon can be a real weapon in the right hands of the right person who has been taught the right shit. So, these are kamas. Now they're tonfas. Foop, foop. Now they're kamas again. Now, you can do that with practice ones. Can't do that with the real ones because you're going to impale your freaking hands. So, like I said, in the right hands, a true martial artist, anything that you touch should be able to whoop somebody's ass with the exception of a simple blade of grass because no one's taught me how that worked yet. I know it's a legend. Don't give me a hard time. It's a legend in China. I'm not Chinese, so I don't know. But I do know of the legend because it was taught to me while I was learning fucking Kung Fu. Okay, got that out the way? Period. So again, you're not going to walk down the street with your tonfas out all day. I'm going to walk down the road with the tonfas gold. I'm going to do what I got to do. No, dude. Somewhere along the line in the 50 states, it's probably fucking illegal. So, you need to be able to fight without weapons before you can fight with weapons. Alright? Because this is just a tool. I'm one weapon down. Boom, 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 boom. But I am the weapon. I don't need the weapon to be the weapon. You need to be the weapon and then decide how to use the other ones. Again, these are tools. You're the weapon. You're the instrument of destruction. Now, block, strike, backhand, other way. Boom, boom. Roll them back for blocking. Ha, ha, ha. Now the commas again. Cut, 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 cut. I just gashed you here and gashed you here. If you've never been cut or stabbed, I pray that it never happens. But if you've ever been cut or stabbed, and I ain't talking paper cut, people, then you'll know that if you come across somebody with a comma, you're in deep shit. There's small blades and there's large blades. Commas come in all different sizes of blades, just like the sai, and they will fuck you up. That being said, as I exit this video and wave to this person, as I exit this video, I'm going to let you guys know first, Kung Fu Habit number 2, BCMU. We're done with